Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. For any of you who haven't been following Gamescom today and yesterday, I thought I'd make a quick summary of what's been announced for Age of Empires 4 this week. Things on the AoE 4 front have been pretty quiet since last October when the Malians and Ottomans were released at the game's 1-year anniversary. And while I haven't been talking about AoE 4 on the channel as much lately, I do follow and play it now and then, with this week giving a lot of reason for optimism. The first major piece of news is that a new DLC is coming, referred to as the biggest ever for AoE 4, which could imply it's going to have 3 civilizations compared to last year's 2. Though biggest ever could also mean that you have 2 civilizations with a massive injection of campaign or single player content, which personally I think the game needs more than a whole bunch of new civilizations. So far, we know it's called Sultan's Ascend, with the Middle East mentioned specifically in an interview and the Crusades featured on the box art. It's an interesting choice if you're expecting 3 new civilizations, as the game already has 2 in that region. That makes me think we aren't getting 3 Middle East civilizations, and in fact, one of the screenshots from Steam really looks like Japanese to me, with cherry blossoms and rice paddies, so I think Japanese are confirmed here for me as a new civilization. Of course, there's also an undeniable Crusader vibe, and one of the pictures is definitely a big battle in the desert, almost certainly part of a Saladin campaign. In addition to Japanese, I would not be surprised at all for Byzantines or another Crusader state to be added as an enemy for the Ottomans or Abbasids, with Byzantines being probably the most requested civilization since release. I also get the sense they're going to be trying to sell or include unit reskins, with a picture showing a revamped Holy Roman Empire with a lot of gold and black detailing that's usually not included with their units. Of course, more news will probably be coming shortly, and my prediction is the DLC comes out on the game's 2nd anniversary in October, which would be in line with what they did last year with Malians and Ottomans. I should note though, this is not looking like a free DLC, as you can wishlist it, but the price hasn't been announced yet. The other big announcement this week is you can now play Age of Empires 4 on Xbox, which was promised late last year and is now officially live. Like in AoE 2, this means you can either use a controller with a specially designed radial menu for that, or if you're more comfortable, it's confirmed you can just plug a keyboard and mouse into your Xbox and use that instead, giving a very similar experience to PC. The controller system is basically a clone of what we got for Age of Empires 2 using radial menus, and considering the success console was for AoE 2, this should do a lot to make AoE 4 more widely accessible, and I'd imagine give it a popularity boost at least temporarily. They even mentioned in an interview they took specific inspiration from how AoE 2 implemented it, and having played with the AoE 2 controller system for a while, I find it's generally quite efficient to get the building or unit you want with just a few buttons. Now, one major difference from AoE 2 though is that on AoE 4 with the controller, you can auto-queue villagers at the town center. This isn't just the eco-distribution, which they also cloned, but actually a set and forget feature, meaning you can basically automate your entire economy. Now, I do have to point out, console has a few limitations in the fine print, and according to the official release, you can only play with up to 3 other people if you're on Xbox One, or up to 8 players with a more recent console. And also, you need to get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or Live Gold to use multiplayer, which was also true for AoE 2. If you bought the game on Steam, it does not transfer to console, so you either have to buy it again for $40 US for single player, or get Game Pass Ultimate for $17 US a month to get full access to the game in single or multiplayer. Something else to keep in mind is that crossplay is definitely not going to be available in AoE 4 between console and PC at the moment, which is unfortunate, as having a large number of players together helps the matchmaking system find a reasonable opponent for you faster. Separating players even more, according to the FAQ, controller players will have their own ranked lobby, which makes sense if you're giving controller players auto-queue, as that seems hard to balance, but means there's essentially 3 islands of players in ranked, at least for the moment. Also announced yesterday is there's a brand new patch for AoE 4 with various changes improving the AI and various bug fixes. Though one nice quality of life change is you now start with 3 sheep perfectly placed under your town center, making the first minute or 2 a little more consistent. So overall, I think the news this week was very encouraging for the game. Not only is there additional content coming with at least 1 new civilization in Japanese and a new Crusade-centric campaign, but with Age of Empires 4 having its price cut in half last year along with significant layoffs at Relic, a new DLC was a much-needed good sign that World's Edge is still highly committed to Age of Empires 4. If you're an AoE 2 player and haven't been following AoE 4 since release, at this point I would say most core features you'd expect in an RTS game at release are present at this point, with the lack of a fun and easy scenario editor being probably the most glaring omission compared to the rest of the franchise. Remember, on top of all of this, we still have Age of Mythology Retold that was announced, and we're waiting for more information about that. At this point, it doesn't look like anything about Age of Mythology or Age of Empires 2 is going to be mentioned at Gamescom this time around. That'll do it for this quick update though. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.